And good afternoon, folks. This is Peter Schiffman with LCM TV News, bringing you the latest updates on the Valley Fire. We just finished coming back from a town hall meeting held at the Lower Lake High School, and we had several dignitaries there. We had Senator McGuire, we had Councilperson um, Jim Steele, Councilperson Jim Comstock, and Supervisor Steele, Supervisor Comstock, and Supervisor Brown. We also had individuals from CAL FIRE. We had Sheriff Brian Martin of Lake County, and several other people from Emergency Services and Animal Rescue. I will tell you up front right now, I apologize if I mispronounce the name or don't have the name of the individual. I don't take notes that quickly, but we do have video of the meeting, which will take place, that we'll put up once I finish my overview and make some of my commentary. So in between, we're going to put up some slides. It's going to take us probably about 5 minutes, give or take, to put the actual video of the meeting on our equipment, and so we can broadcast it to you. In the meantime, as any of our prior broadcasts are up on our website archive that you can also watch. We did a show this morning, I believe, from 11 o'clock to about 2:30, and now it's approximately 5:30, and we're moving forward. Once I do the overview of the meeting, once we run the video of the meeting, my wife Terry will be back, and she has new video of both Cobb, Middletown, and Hidden Valley Lakes. Reason we have all three of those areas is that, once again, we're getting messages and phone calls from residents to find out if their house is still standing or not. Excuse me. So they were going through all the different residencies in those three areas to determine whose house was there and whose house wasn't. She's now at home putting her database together so she can then contact those individuals to let them know the good or the bad news. So let me give you a quick overview of the town hall meeting. So let me read off some of my notes on who was there. I said Brian Martin was there, representatives of CAL FIRE. PG&E was there. I think his name was Mr. Cuff. We had the Red Cross there. We had, again, Supervisor Comstock Brown. We had Senator McGuire. We had the individual who is the Director of Social Services, who's now the new Office of Emergency Services individual. And then we also had the Department of Agricultural Operations. So we'll go through those commentaries they put forth, kind of give you a quick overview of what they're saying, what the status of their departments are, and go from there. But to start off with, CAL FIRE Information Officer gave us a quick update of what was transpired. And all these are going to be very brief comments. There's no need for me to stay here and repeat word for word that you're going to be able to hear on the video. The meeting was approximately an hour and a half. There was some very good commentary by these individuals. There were also some very good questions asked by the general public at the very end of the video. And you'll see some of the contradictory statements that were made to the general public, and the general public catching that and then responding back. I will try to address those comments towards the end of my commentary, and then you can see that for yourself in the video to make sure that I am not being accurate in my comments. So again, CAL FIRE started off the meeting. They basically said the fire season up here in Lake County and other areas of the Northern California is going to be continuing until the rain sets in. As we know, the rainy season can start as early as December or as late as February. So it could be a very long fire season according to CAL FIRE. Obviously, El Nino is coming in. Predictions say that could start November, it could start in December, it could start in January or February. There's no predicting when that will start. So again, our fire season, according to CAL FIRE, is going to continue until the rain start falling. I believe there's a song by CCNR about that. After the introduction, they're also for this particular fire, from the day it started, they did not have the necessary resources to control the fire. So all they were trying to do is have an orderly, massive evacuation, and also to contain the perimeter as much as they could. So their emphasis was on life saving, and then after that it was protecting individual homes. That was their primary concern. They knew the fire was out of control. They couldn't control the perimeter at that point in time. So all they're trying to do is get people to safety and to protect people's residencies as much as they can. At this point, the fire is not making any progress. It has been, the perimeter has been contained. It is not growing outwards. So that's why we have like a 48% containment right now. However, the fire is still out of control by 52%. They are doing their best to contain the perimeter of that fire and to finally put the fire out. But for those people who are in the Cobb Mountain area and on the other side of Cobb Mountain, you're still in danger. There still could be a mandatory evacuation in that area. So please stay tuned to all the media or to the NICSO reports to ensure that your area is still safe. The CAL FIRE representative was pretty brief. He didn't want to take up a lot of time on the floor. He was just giving an overview of the fire when it started and to where it currently is. They all admitted that it was a very devastating fire. It's probably one of the worst in the history of California, and that both the local counties, the state, and even the federal government have noticed what this fire has taken from us, and they're on standby to provide any aid they can, and we'll get to that point in a few minutes. Next up was Sheriff Martin. He tried to clarify some items here. Again, his priority was to ensure a safe evacuation and to provide the necessary time to allow people to get their affairs in order and to evacuate. I have opinions you've probably heard if you watch these broadcasts about that. We have witnesses to stipulate that they did not receive any notification at all for a mandatory evacuation. I can tell you personally that I never received a notification of a mandatory evacuation. We just knew because we felt it. We had ash falling in our house. We had ash falling in our cars. So we knew that if the wind stayed constant that we were going to be in trouble. So we were getting prepared ourselves. But the point is we still never received evacuation. So Sheriff Martin said he was trying to do the best he could to notify people as far in advance as they could. There was also misunderstanding, a lot of complaints from people that said that there was an announcement by the sheriff that these deputies were going to provide escort service back to individual homes as long as for the purpose of taking care or feeding their pets or for receiving or for retrieving medications. That lasted 2 days. His comment was that he basically ran out of manpower. They did not have the deputy sheriffs available to continue escorting individuals back to their homes for the purpose of ensuring their pet safety and also to have people receive their medication. However, the National Guard is on its way, and as we came back to our studio, we saw a convoy of the National Guard in their camouflaged Hummers. If I didn't know better, I thought we were under martial law. But they are here for supporting the Sheriff Department in helping people get back to their homes to retrieve their prescriptions or medications and to help care for their pets. For any other reason, they would not escort you. So with the Humvees, I guess you'd get a very nice escort. What do you think?
Interesting one.
Yes. I don't think I would be ready to attack that Humvee myself. Yeah. The other thing is the National Guard has been called in to help stop looters. My wife just called me and said while she was in Hidden Valley, they arrested some more individuals that were not supposed to be in there and who were basically had personal possessions in their vehicles, i.e. computers, laptops, big screen TVs, that people would know that they're really not there. So National Guard is in here for two purposes. One, to help escort vehicles back to the residencies, and number two, to help prevent some additional looting. Part of the of Sheriff Martin's overview is that he's reinforced that there are over 1,500 PG&E workers right now. They're trying to restore services to the communities that have been destroyed. In addition to that, they're using cadaver dogs. This is mainly in the Cobb Mountain, Loch Lomond areas, Anderson Springs area, where, as I mentioned earlier today, that every single house must be identified and reviewed to ensure there are any other individuals who may have passed due to the fire. They are also finding teeth and jaw bones among the ruins, and they do not know if it's human or animal. So they've brought in an anthropologist to review the remains, and thank goodness at this point in time they're mainly animal remains. Not that I like to hear that either, but at least they're not human remains at this point in time. So until the homes can be individually searched, there's not going to be any repopulation of Cobb, along with some other reasons. Some of the things that Sheriff Martin also addressed was the construction aspect of this disaster. Obviously, this is going to create a lot of construction jobs and accelerate jobs as people start to rebuild. And one thing Sheriff Martin wanted to reiterate and enforce is that if and when you're allowed to rebuild, if and when your insurance company comes forth with the funds from your insurance company, if and when you receive funds from the state or from the federal government to help rebuild your homes, do not get involved in the scams that take place during these type of events. Many people will go after elderly, go after naive individuals, or people who are so distressed they don't really understand what they're doing. A lot of scam artists will come in that are unlicensed contractors who will come in, ask for money up front for materials, and then you never see them again. In this state, you need to have a licensed contractor if you pay more than $500 out for both product and or services, or both at the same time. So if anyone comes up and say, hey, I can do the work for you, I need $2,000 up front for materials, ask them to see their contractor's license. Don't believe them. Don't ask for any other information. Just make sure that they have a document that says they are a registered, certified contractor with the state of California. If you do have a computer available, if you do have internet available, you can go on their website that deals with licensed contractors, and you can verify that they are still active. Unfortunately, I had a situation similar to this where we were doing improvements to our home, interior improvements, and we hired a gentleman who made himself out to be a general contractor, and we saw his license, and he was a general contractor. However, after looking at his work and his demand for payments, the two and two did not go together. So I went online, looked for his license, and realized, yes, he was a licensed contractor, but he was no longer in good standing. And he was not in good standing because he had not paid his renewal fees. So it was not a reflection on his quality of his work, but he was no longer a licensed contractor. He was suspended. Therefore, he was not allowed to do any job that he received more than $500 for. So when you're contracting out, please ensure that he or she or the company is a licensed contractor. Get a copy of the license, verify it online that he or she is a licensed contractor before you give them one penny or before you sign a contract. So that's something that Mr. Martin brought out, excuse me, Sheriff Martin brought out, and I am full concurrence with him on that. That's basically all he said, though he said a lot. He was dealing with a lot, before the question and answer period, he was dealing with the repopulation of areas. And he made some very good points, which we've been stating for all the days that we've been on air, that even though your particular home or your particular area of the city or town has not been affected, other areas have been, and electrical power has not been restored. Water systems may not have been restored. There could be massive trees blocking your street and your areas, and you may have trees that are ready to fall due to the winds, due to the soil erosion, or just the fact that electrical lines have fallen on them and causing extra weight for the tree to fall. So there's still very dangerous situations, even though the fire may not be there. So Sheriff Martin was trying to emphasize that to people and say, hey, we understand you all want to go home. We understand you need to take an inventory of your possessions and to figure out what your next game plan is. But you cannot go back under these type of conditions. So for once, I'm in full agreement with the sheriff. I'm in full agreement with the Cal Fire in regards to the number one purpose is your safety. For those who have been had to evacuate, who are still living in temporary shelters, be it the Red Cross, be it the Moose Lodge, you have to be patient. They cannot allow you to go back to your home until they can guarantee your safety. And that's what he was discussing. He was talking about the Cobb Mountain area, the Middletown area, and Hidden Valley specifically. You just can't go back yet, folks. On the other hand, they did make an announcement that they are repopulating Middletown right now. They're doing it for residents only. We addressed this issue at our show this morning, early afternoon. Hidden Valley, we were told by Cal Fire or Sheriff Nixel reports that that was being repopulated. However, we've now been told that Hidden Valley is not being repopulated because there are still trees falling on the roads, electrical lines are down. However, PG&E, which I'll address in next, basically stated that there was generators brought in to provide emergency electricity to the homeowners. So a little bit of misinformation there, and that was actually addressed in some of the questions at the end of the meeting. But right now, electricity has been restored by generators. However, PG&E, when the spokesperson came up, I believe his name was Cuff, C-U-F-F, he reiterated this afternoon that yes, the generators were there to provide energy, but however, by this afternoon or by lunchtime today, that they had connected all of the electricity to the main substation in Middletown, so they're now off the temporary system, i.e. the generator. So, excuse my voice, folks. I've been talking a lot over the last few days, so I apologize. We're taking some water breaks as I continue talking here. Sheriff Martin continued going on, try to explain in more detail why people could not go back into their homes at this time. And I think most of it was being addressed towards Anderson Springs, Cobb Mountain, Loch Lomond, and the other areas of Cobb. My wife, having been up at Cobb, and I'm sure when she gets back here in an hour or so, she'll be able to give you more firsthand experience as of this afternoon. It is definitely not safe up there, folks. There's still electrical lines down in Cobb. You still see the high tension wires catching on fire, which catching on the trees on fire. There are plenty of trees that have not fallen yet that are about to fall. Even though the fires have gone away from Cobb, there are still too many safety hazards around. And they include, and this sounds silly, but nails sticking out of the ground. We have toxic waste that's going into the groundwater. We have horrible air quality right now in those areas due to all the smoke and even of hazardous materials that have been burned up. They're now in the air itself. So until those are all cleared up, I don't think Cobb Mountain is going to be back for a while. It's not a good thing to say, but it's the truth. Next up was the representative from PG&E. Again, I think his name was Mr. Cuff. He basically stated that the transmission lines have been completely restored. So those high tension wires you see when you're driving around that go to and from a substation, they have been 100% repaired and restored. So electricity is now stable and available in all the communities that were affected by this disaster. Of the sublines that have gone down, which are not the high tension ones, but the ones that connect the homes to the electrical grid, et cetera, they have identified 97 other offerings by other tribal community. I think the biggest thing and the best news that he announced, and this shocked me personally, is that Canocti Resort, if I heard this correctly, is opening their facilities after having been closed for many, many years to house those who are in need of housing. Sorry about that, terrible English. Canocti Harbor is opening up their facilities for those who need temporary housing. I think that's a great thing. We all know what Canocti Harbor meant to this community, both economically and otherwise. And the Plumbers Union, who still owns the resort, to the best of my knowledge, have said we're opening it up. Forever who needs help, we're there to open up our facilities for them. So I think that's awesome. If you need more information on that, because we weren't provided a lot, you may call Mr. Brown. He also gave his personal cell phone number out during this town hall meeting. So once again, I'm not providing you information that's private. Mr. Brown and Mr. Comstock stated, if you need anything, contact us, and here's our cell phone. So for Mr. Brown, his cell phone number, excuse me folks, is 349-2628. Once again, the number is 349-2628. Once again, I'll also post that phone number on our Facebook page, Lake County Magazine. So those numbers are available for those who need to call them for any reason. So again, Mr. Brown was very sincere. He was very soft-spoken. You could tell he was affected by this personally and emotionally. He, I think, personally was, he did not have any losses, though he had family that had to have some help in evacuating. So that was Mr. Brown's overview at the meeting. Next up was Senator McGuire, and I've had some very good conversations with him. Yes?
Recording stopped. There is not enough space to start recording on the drive.
Okay, we've already filled that up, huh?
Yeah,
Okay, we still streaming?
we're still streaming.
Okay, that's good. So I'm almost finished anyway. So, folks, the equipment we use, we have to have, not that you care, but I'm going to tell you anyway. We have hard drives in our proprietary equipment, and one hard drive is set for strictly the operating software, meaning it's kind of partitioned, and the other drive is strictly for data. And once our data is recorded, it fills up the hard drive very, very quickly. And since we've been doing so many broadcasts over the last number of days, we have not cleared off some of that because we want to make sure that all of these broadcasts have been properly archived. So right now, 90% of the show will be archived on our TV site, but we won't have any backup at this point in time. So please bear with us on that. As soon as my wife gets here, we'll be able to know what we can clear and what we cannot clear. So to do a quick recap of Senator McGuire, he was here and he brought along the governor's Office of Emergency uh, Services. Um, so they're here to provide any assistance they can at the state level. Um, he verified that fire departments came from across the state to help fight this valley fire. Some literally closed their own local neighborhood fire stations to come up here to fight the fire. That's how bad our fire is here. That's how much the publicity or the media brought out to the state. And for people to close their own fire stations to come up here, I think is tremendous. Obviously, they did not leave their people in danger by any means, but for them to come across up here to help support the other fire departments here locally and also to support CAL FIRE is very commendable. So we had many firefighters from around the state up here for the fire. Some of the latest news he mentioned to us that the the Hidden Valley wastewater treatment plant, I apologize folks, caught on fire last night, which means that no one could be repopulated back to Hidden Valley because there's no waste treatment plant. And I'm not going to go into details of why that needs to be done, but they lost it. Yet overnight, they serviced it and brought it back online so people could start getting back into Hidden Valley. So that was kudos out to whomever repaired that plant. He did not state who was responsible for it. However, I know PG&E had to be involved because it was electrical also. Personally, I think knowing it was in Hidden Valley, I'm sure some of the staff or hired contractors by Hidden Valley Association probably were called in to do that. Now I'm going to have to try to read my writing here. Let's see, CAL FIRE and P&G. Okay, yeah. All the personnel of CAL FIRE and PG&E that were staying at local motels and hotels, they literally moved out, obviously paid their bills, and allowed people who were providing shelter in these emergency centers, be it Red Cross, be it the Moose Lodge. They've now moved out of these hotel rooms to allow misplaced people to go back to these rooms. They created their own mini city. I'm sure they have some tents, big tents there. I'm sure they have their food trucks there. But after being on the fire line for X amount of hours, it's nice to go back to a hotel room, a clean bed, go out to the local restaurant if it exists, and get good food. But they gave that up so people who are in the shelters can relocate to hotels. I do not know at this time if the hotels are charging or not, but as I said earlier, that those who own their own homes that had homeowners insurance, if it was available based on their location, the insurance policy usually allows a certain number of days of hotels and a certain amount of dollar value for meals and supplies. So if you did have a home that was burned down or had severe damage and you were unable to continue occupying that room, call your insurance agent, find out what your policy involves in case you don't know it, and ask him or her, am I covered for out-of-pocket expenses when I cannot occupy my home? I'm going to guarantee, as much as I can, that the policy does allow for that. It's just how many days and to what dollar amount you can be reimbursed for. So those who have lost their homes, that have been evacuated, that are staying in shelters, first thing Monday morning, if you have your cell phone charged or use someone else's phone, call your agent. Find out, once again, what the procedures are for you to have your home rebuilt or renovated, and also how much can I use for hotel and miscellaneous expenses? And you may be surprised that you might be able to stay at a hotel for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks and be completely reimbursed by your insurance company. So on that note, I think it's unbelievable for Cal Fire and PG&E to give up their hotel rooms because these people are literally working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And again, see if I can find my prior notes here. I swear I'm missing some notes somewhere, but that's okay. I believe that PG&E stated, let me see if I can find these notes again, folks. I must have missed that. They had crews of approximately 195, I remember correctly, 195 crews out there working to restore power to all of the affected areas. And that includes putting up the poles, rerunning the wires, the electrical lines, disposing of the electrical lines that fell to the ground on the streets and on the sidewalks onto people's property. That is all being removed by 195 crews that are working around the clock. So for them to give up their hotel rooms after working those number of hours, getting the grit, dirt off them, having a hot shower, and giving that up, to me, is a major sacrifice. Yes, they're getting paid to do their job. Yes, they have some nice benefits to their job. But thank you. It's not an easy job, and they're working on behalf of our community. And I think both Rob Brown and Jim Comstock said, you know, P&G is not one of my favorite companies. I cuss them out every time I get my electric bill. However, from now on, I think I'm not going to. The services they provide have been beyond approach in this community to go out of the way to provide service as safely and as quickly as they can. And both Brown and Comstock stated that. And unfortunately, I have to concur with them. I bitch and moan every time I get my electric bill. This tier system that they charge, you know, especially during high times of the 5 o'clock in the afternoon during the summertime or whatever the case may be, we get these rate adjustments. It costs us a lot more money out of our pocket. But after seeing what they do, you kind of say, thank you. I'll quit bitching. So, on that note, let me move forward more towards what Senator McGuire said. As part at the Middletown Senior Center. Sorry, folks. Let me get some more water. Sorry. At the Senior Center, all government agencies will be there. State funding departments, state funding reports will be removal. They're going to ensure that all agencies are represented, that people can go there and ask whatever questions are needed to find out what the procedures are to help get the services they need from the individual agencies. As I mentioned earlier, BOE is going to be there, Board of Equalization. The Emergency Office of Emergency Services will be there. The insurance department is going to be there to ask questions about how your insurance company is supposed to react. If you're not insured, what services, financial or otherwise, can be provided by the Department of Insurance. They're all going to be there to answer your questions. One of the last things he said, well, two things, is that we need to prepare for the rainy season. And that's what Cal Fire said initially that I overview, is that we're not out of danger. We're still in fire season till the rainy seasons come. That's the bad news. The more bad news is once the rainy season comes, how is it going to impact our soil? How much erosion is going to take place? How many landslides or mudslides are going to take place? That is something we need to be prepared for. The preparation of, hey Mark, that's my wife. Sorry about that, folks. We're running with minimal staff right now, and my wife keeps on harassing me. For the good, though. Um, where was I? Oh,
I'm sorry?
hang on, folks. This is what you get when you have live broadcast. You just never know what's going to happen, including wives calling you and finding out what the hell's going on.
She's on her way from the house,
Good. She's bringing dinner.
I guess.
She better. Okay. Um, and on a funny note, and I'm being facetious here because I like some sense of humor. Um, anyone listening out there that runs a restaurant or has pizza, sandwiches, hamburgers, I will not say no. I have not had a good meal in 7 days.
Oh my God, pizza sounds so good.
Pizza does sound good. So if anyone's listening, I don't know if Kyle's listening from DJs or not. And yes, that is a commercial for DJs in Lower Lake who has the best pizza in the area. Unless somebody else wants to bring us some pizza, then they'll have the best pizza in the area. Sorry, folks. Kyle,
Right there with you.
yeah, thank you. Kyle owns the game shop next to our offices here. He also owns DJs, and he is one of the most giving individuals I've met. He runs all-you-can-eat pizza on Wednesday nights at DJ's here at the corner of 53 and 29 to benefit whatever nonprofit asks to do. We had the Time Bank there the other day. We've had fundraisers for victims of crimes, for people who have become homeless due to individual fires.
$8.
Yeah, $8 all you can eat. And they got cold beer there as well, which can be important. Hang on, I just got a Nixle alert from the Lake County Sheriff's Department. It reiterated what we've been saying for the last 2 days, that the repopulation of the Hidden Valley Lake area has commenced. And let me check my email so I can go ahead and, where the hell is my email? Mark, what did you do with my email?
I ate it.
You ate it?
I was hungry.
Oh my God. So I want to verify the detail of this evacuation. Excuse me, repopulation. God help me. So I'm pulling that up. I get the next alert on the phone, and then there's more detail on the actual website. So I need to, here we go, I'm loading it up now. So what I'm getting at, and I'll finish these points before I go into the detail on this. Here we go, Lake County. Oh, Jackie Collins died, 77 years old. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, the mandatory evacuation order for the communities of Hidden Valley Lake, Jerusalem Grade, Grange Road, and Butts Canyon Road will be lifted to residents only at 12 p.m. Sunday, September 20th, i.e. tomorrow. Resident screening locations have been established at traffic control points. Access to Hidden Valley Lakes will be through the Hartman Road entrance only, and there will be no Hidden Lakes access from Spruce Grove Road. To support the orderly return of residents to their homes, the following road closures have been revised. Road closures effective September 20th at noon. Hartman Road at State Route 29, a screening location. Grange Road at State Route 29, also a screening location. Butts Canyon Road at State Route 29, and Butts Canyon Road at Snell Valley Road. All of those are screening locations. I'm going to state the obvious, that if you are living in one of those areas, Hidden Valley, etc., and you wish to go back home, make sure you have proper ID, and make sure you have something that stipulates that confirms your address. That could be a utility bill, it could be a Mediacom bill, it could be a insurance bill. You need to be able to substantiate who you are and where you live. Otherwise, they will turn you away. In addition to that, knowing the population in Middletown, knowing the population in Hidden Valley, knowing the population in Jerusalem Grade and Grange Road and all that good stuff, it's going to be a long line, folks. So please be patient. Bring some food if necessary. Bring plenty of water or something else to drink. Make sure if you got children, give them some toys. If you're fortunate enough to have a video player in your car, bring some videos. Do whatever you need to make yourself comfortable. It's going to be hot tomorrow. Actually, it's going to be very hot tomorrow. It's going to be anywhere from 95 to 99 degrees out. Make sure that you check your vehicle. Make sure your radiator is full of antifreeze and water. Make sure your air conditioning is working correctly. Make sure your battery has a proper charge on it. If you have a voltmeter in your car, make sure it's at 14 volts or thereabouts. Make sure your car is in good condition as much as you can. So when you go back to repopulate or to go back to your home, you're most likely going to have long lines. The checkpoints are going to verify all the information to ensure that you are allowed to be back there. That's going to cause lengthy delays. When I was coming back from Kelseyville area or Big Valley area, and I was on 29 heading towards Lower Lake, the line started with about 15 cars, and the time we got into line, it was back to 50 cars. And at that point in time, the road was closed anyway, so we had to make use of our press passes. So in this situation, press is not going to mean diddly squat. You're just going to have to be patient. Just be prepared, please. We don't need any additional stress. We don't need anyone to, quote, lose their temper and cause additional stress on their family and or on people around them. So please, please be prepared. I'm obviously talking about the obvious, but sometimes we forget about the obvious things. There are no additional evacuations orders that are being lifted at this time. The cancellation of additional evacuation orders is being evaluated based on a variety of factors. This is common stuff. And always, and I say always, be vigilant to your surroundings, specifically about the fires. We get a strong wind that changes direction, we all could be back into a dangerous situation again, especially those in the Middletown and Cobb area and in the Hidden Valley area. Those of us who live north of there in Lakeport, Upper Lake, those of us who live in the Riviera area, it'll take quite a few days and make big gusts of winds for us to be in danger. However, always be vigilant and always keep aware of your surroundings. One thing, so I tried to stipulate or say earlier, is that besides the obvious, there are hazardous conditions, and they could include asbestos, heavy metals, byproducts of plastic combustion, and various other chemicals, not just in the ground, but also in the air. So please, please be on guard for those type of activities. What else can we go forward on this? That's not something afforded to me on that one. So, okay, let me go back to my final comments on Senator McGuire. My wife's on her way in with her video. We're going to start, hopefully, the full video of the town hall meeting. So besides preparing for the rainy seasons, there was a fundraising event, and I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was down in Southern California, I believe. $850,000 was raised for student grants for those affected by this fire. That goes for supplies, tuition, books, and whatever else in I think it was meant mainly for high school students, but it could involve also college students that were affected by this fire. So $850,000 was raised for student grants. You may, I don't have any contact information. That was not given to us. But what you may want to do is contact Senator McGuire's office in Sacramento And if you are not aware of this, Senator McGuire, in conjunction, is going to be sharing offices with Assemblyman Bill Dodd. Mike McGuire is going to be holding a grand opening of his office on September 29th, and that is a, hang on a second, folks. That is a Tuesday evening. That's interesting. So it's after hours. It's not on a weekend where you may have other plans. It's Tuesday evening. We will provide you more information on that on lakecountymagazine once we get some more updated information. But I believe it's going to be like from 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock on. We get to meet and greet with Senator McGuire and his staff. So if you have any questions regarding this fund that was raised and the student grants, as I said, either contact him at his Sacramento office or on the 29th when he's going to be here personally in Lake County, contact him and ask him questions at that point in time. He has been here today. He may stay for another couple of days, go back to his regular duties in Sacramento, but he is always available. If you call his office there, his staff are excellent, just as Bill Dodd's staff are excellent in providing answers to your questions, in assisting any needs you have, or just saying hi. They're very good at responding, so please take advantage of that opportunity. The other people here are the Director of Social Services, who is now the new Office of Emergency Services Director. The other one, and I apologize for not remembering her name, I was talking to Jim Steele about this, and the emergency service person resigned today. And I said, why? He said, she's been on the job for 90 days, and during those 90 days, all she has been emergency situations. She could not handle the stress, and she decided to resign. Said, I'm not mad-libbing here, folks. This job is not, it does not meet my needs because I cannot handle the stress of the destruction and the deaths that have occurred both personally and animal-wise. So she resigned. So the Director of Social Services is now the new head of emergency services for Lake County. Also here is the Department of Agricultural Operations. That not be the right title because I was trying to take notes while kneeling down on the ground. They're here to work with the farms and the agricultural people to find out what assistance they can provide, be it financial or otherwise. So my beautiful wife just stepped in, and she's trying to refocus me because I'm always out of focus. I'm always off balance, dear. We know that. Oh, and
Jenkins, but no Sydney. She didn't want to come.
that's okay. Sydney likes her time. Hi, Jenkins. Jenkins is our new addition to the family. He was a rescue dog from the SPCA. So I think that basically covers it from my commentary. Mark, you kind of sort of ready to run some slides?
Sure.
And hang on, let me check the, God, I need my glasses. Sorry, folks, I'm blind as a bat. Let me see how much room I have on the flash drive in order to, okay, right now we have 959697. I think I can add one more. Let's see what I got here. Sorry, folks, I have to change the files, the video from a disk to a flash drive in order for us to load it into our piece of equipment. So I got 9597, so I'm going to try to put 98 on there right now and see if we have room. So folks, thank you for tuning in. We'll be bringing you further updates as they are provided to us during the course of the evening. We're going to run the town hall meeting. That's approximately an hour and a half. And then my wife has new video coming in from Cobb, from Middletown, and from Hidden Valley that she went to today. She is always out there looking for addresses to see what homes are standing and what homes are not. So if you have not had any information regarding your residence, you can Facebook us at Lake County Magazine Facebook page. Please do it as a private message, not as a public message. You can give us your name and your address and your contact information, i.e. your phone number. And when she does go out again, she can try to find the street and try to find out if your house is standing or not. Our inquiries are getting less and less every day, so it's not taking us long, but whatever we can do to assist you, we will do that, even though I complain a lot about not having my life back with my wife. But we have our priorities, and that is the community right now. So again, thank you for watching. We have approximately 3 hours of video, and it's now 7 o'clock, so we will be here to 10 o'clock, which is usually our cutoff time, so we can get our act together and see what's going on. And I believe...
Let's take power with you.
Because we thought we had plenty of battery power. Anyway, my point here is that there are some very pertinent questions asked by the public that kind of sort of maybe contradicted what the sheriff was saying. So I would like you guys to review it, formulate your own opinion, and see what you think about it. But it's a very interesting meeting that I think you should watch.
Good. Sounds interesting. I'll be watching it.
Okie dokie. You
Ready
ready
to
to
roll
go?
'em.
Roll 'em.
Roll 'em.
It's time for dinner, folks. Once again, thank you for paying attention to us. Thank you for allowing me to bend your ear all day until my wife came back.
And thank you for allowing me to help people make sure that their homes are safe or not. If you haven't had your home checked and you'd like us to check it, you can go to Lake County Magazine Facebook page. Just give us your address, and we will go out there. We're going out again on Monday. So I don't think Cobb's going to be open up that early because things up there are a huge mess. So, you know, infrastructure is the biggest problem. There's no power, there's no water, and the water that's there is toxic. So just be patient. You know, everything will be okay. If you need me to check your house, I'll be happy to do that. If you have animals, I got food, I got water with me. I can take care of whatever you need to get taken care of.
We do have the latest update from CAL FIRE.
Finally, I've been
seven,
checking
I
them
know,
all day.
7:15
8 a.m.
p.m.
was the first one.
So if you like, I can go through that briefly.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, as of 7:15
wonderful.
this afternoon, we have the fire is 50% contained. That's up from 48%. Still at 74,500 acres. Still the same number of houses destroyed, so they haven't found any other bad structures. Napa County repopulation of Berryessa Estates is effective as a couple of days
you don't
ago.
need to read that.
Yeah, that's already been done. The road closures we've already reviewed. See what else may have changed here.
Well, they're not mentioning tomorrow.
No, they haven't.
Mm-mm.
Same. Yeah, everything's about the same, folks. I don't see anything really different.
They still haven't released anything about the
No.
body they found the other day.
Let me see if I can.
Well, that's the last one about the.
Yeah.
That's the one about what do you call it? Hidden Valley. The last one.
Yeah.
Mandatory.
Yeah, that's. Oh, I already talked about that. We know that.
It'll
Yeah,
be
there's a
lifted for residents at 12 p.m.
Right, I've
for
already-
Hidden Valley Lake, Jerusalem Grade, Grange Road, and Butts Canyon
Right.
Road.
So I
That's
think that's
awesome.
it. Nothing else has changed. I read the update that we were given at the meeting, so this is basically the same thing.
Yeah,
Never mind, folks. Sorry about that.
that's the official one.
That's the official one.
And what about down below? See if there's anything new in the conditions. They don't even have conditions listed.
No.
So that's good. They're 50% containment. That means they're winning, and we are going to be over this real soon.
Yep.
So happy everybody's going to be able to get home. Thank you so much for your patience and really understanding the situation. And our deepest condolences go out to anyone who's lost a home or an animal or a family member in this horrible tragedy.
And I would like to thank those individuals out there who are sending us emails and messages thanking us for what we're doing. It's not necessary, but I wanted to let you know that we do appreciate it.
We do appreciate it. You know, we're a small little company. We're kind of like the David of the Goliaths of the media in this county. And actually, we are going to be having an interview very soon coming up with the editor of the Record Bee, who's going to actually interview us for a change and talk about some of the things that we've been going through here, because we have had a lot of very, very strange and stressful and very mysterious things go on, including the robbery of our studio, which was $10,000 of equipment that was taken out of here. And we're free, and we just donate our time to do this service, so we're not really, we can't really afford those kind of losses. Luckily, some of it was insured, most of it was insured. But the hard thing is that they took our hard drives that had all of our 5 years worth of archives of videos and interviews that we'd done throughout those years that were going to be future programming for our TV channel. So that's just a very mysterious incident. And then there's been lots of other things that we will be talking about with the editor from the Record Bee. And we're going to be telling our story, basically, and probably giving some ideas to people why people don't like us, and show that hopefully there isn't any grounds for that feeling, because we're not bad people. It's all in your mind.
We're decent people.
We're decent people, and
not
it's
perfect.
all in your mind.
But by the way,
my
Jack,
removal from the Valley Fire Committee, and because people complained that I was on there, and it's just bogus stuff, and we want to be able to challenge it. Oh, Jackie Collins has died at 77.
I can't believe that.
She
77.
is young. Oh, my.
Yeah.
Yes.
Her sister's still going strong, though.
Her sister, yeah, that's great. But that's such a shame. Another one bites the dust. Rest
All right.
in peace.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay, Mark, roll
Go
it.
ahead. Roll 'em, Mr. Technical Director.
Turn down volume now.
Thank you.
Thank you, boss.
Start as to what was seen and what was done in the initial attack of the fire, and then we're going to go up to date as far as the operational aspects of the fire and whatnot. Once we're done with that, then we're going to go with Sheriff Brian Martin, and he's going to explain the evac, repop, as well as patrolling and items of that nature, and then we'll get into some dignitaries as well. I do ask that you keep your questions to the end when we do actually have a question and answer period of time. We will bring microphones to you to facilitate those. As far as the media, if we can have you stay put, that would be a big help as well. So, we'd like to get started. Right here standing is Barry German, Chief German. He is Team 3's IC trainee. He'll be speaking for the fire side. Lake County Sheriff Brian Martin. CHP is represented by, where did Hector go? There you are, Hector Broadus. Board of Supervisor, Lake County, Jim Comstock. Board of Supervisor, Lake County, Bob Brown. And evidently, Board Supervisor Jim Steele also snuck in there. They made him sit up there with him. So. And Senator McGuire is gracious enough to be here to answer several of your questions. We have the OAS representative, Jody Carpacero. We have Carol Hutchinson, who is now promoted to the EOC director. We have from BLM, Jeff Hummel. We have Red Cross with Cynthia Shaw over there. Salvation, Kevin Hansen. The propane industry is represented by John Garcia. Lake Animal Control, Bill Davison, did you make it? You're not here yet. And PG&E, Robert Cupp, as well as Tony Kruger, who's here. Then we have over here the folks from the Contractor State Licensing Board. They'll answer those questions that were asked at the last one. And the California Department of Insurance is also represented. So again, we'll start with the presentation now, and then we'll go into the question and answer after. So if you can hold your questions till then, it'd be greatly appreciated. And then we'll be around after that, so you can come down and ask us questions face to face as well. Thank you. So we're going to start with IC trainee Team 3 from Cal Fire, Chief Barry Bierman.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So a week ago, last Saturday, 1:30 in the afternoon, the fire originated, as we know now as the Valley Fire. And we've had some fire history here, unfortunately, in Lake County and in this unit, Snow Lake Napa unit, which is where I also work, I'm also local, with some other large fires. So we were aware of the fires that did start here. We had some other smaller fires that we were able to pick up, like the Peterson fire not too long before that. We were well aware that the potential here is going to exist for large fires until the rains come. Well, when this fire was dispatched, it was quickly, with the smoke scene and the first resources coming on scene up in the Cobb area, that this fire was a real fire, because sometimes they end up not being much, but this was. And quickly upon dispatch of the fire, units started to arrive at scene, we started calling for more resources right away, because we knew every fire up here has the potential this year. As in most years this year, a little worse obviously because of 4 years of drought and what the fires have done. So when the units got at scene, we started to see a fire that was starting to develop. The responding battalion chief, one of your local members that live up in the area, Chief Greg Brutelli, was the incident commander initially, and he immediately augmented that dispatch and started calling in for more resources because we knew that the potential always exists. Well, this fire quickly got established, and within the first short time period, we ended up having one of our heli-tac crews come into the scene out of Bob's Mountain, which I'm sure you've all seen flying over many times. And we started to fight fire like we usually do, very aggressively, and providing for that safety. Well, quickly, this fire went from being 10 to 20 acres to all of a sudden starting to become a very dangerous rate of spread. It eventually, early on, trapped our Bob's heli-tac crew, part of them, as you heard, and four members of that team were cut off. They were in a fight for their life right away, and that kind of changed the whole dynamics of the fire. Because when that happened, everything blew up. It ran in all different directions. So quickly, we had 4 of our heli-tac members that were burned over. They have serious burns, and it became a process of trying to get them out and start getting all of you out that are in the fire's way. This became one that quickly, within the first hour, was several hundred acres and was running from the top of Cobb down towards Middletown. So it became a life-threatening evacuation process. It went from where we didn't have enough resources to try to contain and control this fire the way it was exploding. It was everything we could do to start saving lives. And that first day and night was a massive process of trying to keep people safe and alive, and working with local law enforcement agencies in Lake County, going from Fish and Game to CHP, and all the fire agencies that were requested to come in here. It was a massive evacuation of trying to keep people safe. And that really, that first night, was all that went on. As you know, the winds were very erratic that night, and continued to push hard and push it down to the southeast, down Highway 175, into Middletown, through Hidden Valley, and continuing out to the east. And it takes a while to get those resources in here. And as this fire quickly developed, we now have people trapped everywhere, people calling 911 that they can't get out, trying to get those resources into those homes, those driveways, those streets, to tell everyone to get out. That was the priority that entire first night. And that continued through the night. Within the first several hours, it was 1,000 acres. And I remember going down to the hospital where I was going to meet some of the burned firefighters who were being taken to UC Davis. We're still, today, all 4 of them remain, unfortunately. Remember here it was 10,000 acres. And that's pretty fast, considering how fast some of the other fires, the large fires we have here, grew. This one was already 10,000 acres in the early evening. And then by the middle of that night, I remember hearing it was 40,000 acres. Completely unprecedented. Not the Rocky, not the Jerusalem, not any of those fires could grow like that. And what made this more difficult was the fact that it was going through communities, many of which you live in. And so that first night, it was a battle just to save life and property, get people out of harm's way. And we couldn't even try to contain the fire at that point. You have that much fire everywhere. You have thousands of people in the path of the fire. Unfortunately, not everyone got out. And we're very, very sad and sorry to hear that. Shortly after that, the next day, as reinforcements came in, we started to get everyone back into this incident, into the fire area, start to gain control, and really just regroup. We know that we had gotten life safety for the most part taken care of, got everyone out, started securing areas, started trying to work on controlling this thing. And that's where we stand today. Today we stand a week later at a fire that is 48% contained, 74,500 acres. The last 3 days there's been no perimeter growth of this fire. It's staying where we want it to stay. It does not mean that it's out. There's still 50% of it that is not contained. That means that we have areas that we need to still go in directly and get water on the line, cut areas out, make sure the fire is dead out around the perimeter so there can be no more growth. The weather helped us tremendously. This fire, we thought, had the potential to get much, much larger, especially if the conditions on that first day continued. And they didn't, thank goodness. We needed a break up here. We finally got some kind of a break in the form of rain. And what that did is it enabled us to get those resources in there directly with no more growth. And the fuel and the fire behavior was modified by that. So we started to go in there directly, started to put the lines in, and this fire sort of stayed in the footprint that it was in after a couple days. And we have a lot of work to do. There are still resources coming in. There's no one that's gone home from here in a fire engine, unless there was some sort of a mechanical issue or something, but we're not releasing people because this fire is good. We have over 4,000 people on this fire right now, doing everything we can as a top priority to get you back into your homes for those of you that are displaced, to get in and see what may remain. And for some of you, there may not be a lot left. There's a rebuilding process that has to start, and we recognize that. We want to get you into those homes. So we're working closely with everyone throughout the county, our cooperators that we work with, the EOCs in Lake County, the public officials, the law enforcement, to put together this plan to get you repopulated and back in so we can see where the rebuilding process starts. So as we sit down, 48%, every day you're going to see that go up and up. I look forward to when this warm weather goes away again in a couple days, and we'll continue to make good progress, but we will hold the fire currently where it is. We're confident of that, but there still may be a little bit of smoke that comes up in the air, and between the 4,000 people on this fire, the 23 helicopters, numerous air tankers that are here, we will hold it, and we have work to do, but we'll get it done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next, I'd like to introduce Lake County Sheriff Brian Martin.
Well, it doesn't seem like too long ago we were here. Scott joined me here for a press conference with the senator for the Rocky and Jerusalem fire, so we got to stop meeting like this. Truly. I had a lot of oh wow moments during the last week. Oh wow moments seeing these fires, oh wow moments hearing heroic stories. And I had another oh wow moment last night when I went to visit the shelter in Kelseyville and saw the looks on people's faces that are so desperate to get home, and seeing those looks on faces here. And we're doing everything we can. We're pushing very hard to get people back home, but we're also making sure that when you go back home, it's going to be as safe as possible. We need you to understand that when you do go back home, if you're going into an affected area, if you're going into a situation that's dangerous, it's inherently dangerous where the fires have burned through. And we recognize that, and we want you to be aware, and we want you to be equipped properly, and we also want you to understand that when you get there, it's going to be traumatic. For those of you that haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it in person, you're going to feel some emotions because the devastation is so bad. Over the last week, we've had lots of challenges, and one of the challenges that we've been dealing with is what can we do to get people home for essential things. And I'm not talking about going home and getting some clothing. I'm not talking about going home and taking a look at your house. I'm talking about going home. People have moved so fast that they left pets behind. There's livestock that needs to be tended to. There's crops that need to be tended to. And so we started an escort process that we're only able to sustain for a couple of days with our deputy sheriffs for people to go in and tend to their animals, retrieve their animals, and feed them. And unfortunately, we just simply couldn't sustain that, so we had to scale back. Yesterday, I met with the Adjutant General of the California National Guard, and we've called in a company of military police officers who arrived late last night and early this morning, and they're going to help us with those escorts so we can get people into the areas that we haven't opened up for population yet. So they're here, not on a law enforcement mission, not on a military operation, but on a humanitarian service mission. So we're starting that program back up again. Hold on, there was a little bit of question. Somebody asked me, well, what's the community of Lake County going to think when we call them the National Guard? Are they going to think we're militarizing this? Lake County is the most patriotic county in the state. And I tell you, they're going to be welcome here. The repopulation efforts, we have a lot of meetings over the last week. We'll come to group meetings, and I know there's a lot of talk about we're planning on doing this, we're talking about doing this, but we're doing things. Things are happening, and they're not going to happen fast enough for anybody. They're not going to happen fast enough for me, and I know they're not going to happen fast enough for the people who have been displaced, but we're seeing progress. Yesterday, we were able to populate various estates. Today, we're able to start repopulating the Middletown area and the Twin Lakes and Lower Lakes areas. As things progress, people will get to go home. It needs to be a phased approach. You can't just open up the gates, and yell oxen-free and have everybody come home and have a massive influx of people, because, like the chief said, there's 4,000 firefighters out there, and they need to be able to get around. They need to be able to move around safely. And this fire's not out in all situations. If a flare-up comes with this nice warm weather that we're having, and this fire flares up, and they need to either get themselves out and get to where they're going, we can't have 12,000 people all of a sudden back in their way. We also have PG&E crews working very hard. They have their instant command post set up on Highway 29 between Middletown and Mid-Valley Lake. And last count I heard, 1,500 PG&E workers in Lake County. That's the size of Middletown, the population of Middletown, working on getting lines in. They need to be able to move around without an influx of people. But they're working fast. They're working diligently. If you saw what I saw with all those power lines down, you'd think, man, there's going to be months before these wires are back up. Come back the next day, and there's miles and miles of telephone poles and utility poles that are put back up. It's not your father's PG&E company. It's not your parents' PG&E company. They're here. They're partners in our community, and they are working hard. They're working around the clock and doing everything they can to make sure that you can get back home and have power when you get back home. Big round of applause for PG&E. I get the question, well, why, Sheriff, why can't we go home? The fire's out, the smoke's down, we're not seeing it, well, we're hearing it's still out there, but it's not out there everywhere, so why can't we go home? There's all kinds of hazards that are left there. There are trees that have been damaged. We got this rain that added some extra weight. There's trees that are falling. I've gone through areas. I was trapped. I went to visit, to survey the area in Anderson Springs. And the time it took me to drive halfway up Anderson Springs and turn around and come back, a tree had fallen across the road, and a large tree. And so these things are happening. I go by and look at somebody's house, and I come back by the next day, and there's a tree that's fallen down over the rubble that's left behind. We don't want people to go back in, having survived this fire, and then get killed because of something like that. There's unseen hazards, in addition to the nails sticking up, in addition to embers that may still be active, in addition to wires or propane tanks that haven't been cared for yet. There's unseen hazards. When these things burn in your house, they leave hazardous material behind. When you and your children and your neighbors go in and start moving those things around, you can expose yourself to things that it may not affect you today. It might be a couple years down the road where you find yourself stricken with some illness that's a result of exposure to these things. So we're doing everything we can to make sure it's as safe as possible. To make it completely safe would take months. By a show of hands, who wants to wait months to go back home? Nobody does, and we recognize that. So we're going to make it as safe as we can. We're providing personal protective equipment at distribution points, but when you do go back in, if you have to sit through the rubble, we encourage you to wear a mask, wear a dust mask, wear rubber gloves. Make sure you bag these things up and dispose of them accordingly so you don't expose yourself unnecessarily to these hazards. You don't expose your neighbors to those hazards. I'm going to put this out here. The other thing that we're dealing with, as the chief said, we've had 3 fatalities during this fire. We've had 4 firefighters injured, and we've had 1 deputy sheriff that had to be hospitalized for smoke inhalation. We've also had teams of cadaver dogs come out to help us out in search through these several missing persons reports. If you heard me talk earlier, I said I was fairly confident that we would have more fatalities. And the reason I was saying that was because at the time we had reports of deputy sheriffs finding teeth in the debris and sifting through and finding teeth and bones in the debris. We've had, this is probably one of the only good stories I have that comes out of this, we've had anthropologists from Cal State Chico come down to help us, and an odontologist from Alameda County come up, and they were able to confirm that those were animal remains. We're still finding those things, but we still need to make sure that we don't have any people that are lost above and beyond the 3 that we know of. I hope you all are seeing the people that we are arresting for looting during this activity. Disgusting, unscrupulous, they should be ashamed of themselves, and I'm going to do everything I can to help them be ashamed of themselves. We're finding people that are in the evacuated areas, wearing dark clothing, camouflage clothing, running around with iPads, flat screen TVs, tools, and other things that clearly don't belong to them, so we're making arrests. We have extra patrols coming in addition to the Lake County Deputy Sheriffs that we have on duty all the time. We have patrols coming in from our neighboring deputies, our neighboring sheriff's offices, police officers from our faraway Benicia Police Department, Novato Police Department, Petaluma Police Department, many others that are coming in to help us out. We're deploying an average of 30 to 34 extra patrols in the evacuated areas. We're catching these guys. I'm going to put the picture on the internet, release them to the news, and I'm going to tell detailed stories about what they did. And if I have a chance to talk to them, I will. And encourage them and let them know, hey, this might not be a really safe place for you to be after this is all over. Those are what I call the camouflage collar and black collar looters. I have the Department of Insurance here. We're going to have to also be wary of blue collar looters. There's going to be unscrupulous people throughout this entire event looking to take advantage of people that are affected by this. There's going to be unlicensed contractors coming in and asking for $1,000 of money up front so they can go get materials. And you're going to give them $1,000 thinking they're going to come back and fix your house or start the process and we'll never see them again. Don't do that. Make sure that you're dealing with licensed contractors. Make sure that if you have insurance, get a hold of your insurance company and make those plans so they can ensure that the people that you are hiring will work with you to make sure that the people that you're hiring are capable of doing the repair work. They have the proper insurance to take care of it, and they're not out to scam you. The Department of Insurance has reps here. Did I hear that? Yes. Okay. And many of the local insurance agents, even if you're not their customer, they can answer general questions. So if you know somebody's an insurance agent, if you don't have insurance with them, they can answer those general questions and make sure that, that you're not victimized again and again during this. The repopulations are going to continue. As I said at the beginning, and I'll say, we're not here telling you what we're going to think about doing, what we're planning on doing. I'm here to tell you what we're doing, and the repopulations are happening. They're going to continue to happen. Please pay attention to the Facebook page. Pay attention to the media, the reliable media sources. If you hear something in a crowd, or if you hear something on Facebook, make sure you vet the information, verify the information through CAL FIRE, through the Lake County Office of Emergency Services, through the Lake County Sheriff's Office, through some reliable source. There's a lot of misinformation out there. As recently as today, we had somebody running around announcing that everybody could go home in a particular area, and that wasn't the case. So make sure you verify the information whenever you have a chance, and just know that you have thousands, literally thousands of people working to make sure that you get home safely. There's not one single key that's going to make it so you get home. There's a lot of people working together to make sure that the fire's out, the hazards are mitigated, the roads are open, we're not going to cause accidents. If we have to respond to another emergency while this is going on, we're able to do that. And our interest is to get you home as soon as we can, and we're working really hard to that. Thank you very much for coming.
All power have been restored.
Yeah, I can answer that for you. So what we did, the normal fee for the Hidden Lake area comes from Middletown Substation north along 29. And we had substantial damage there. So what we did in Hidden Valley Lake was we brought in 40-foot trailer with generators and generated that system at the primary voltage.
The other folks that have been very helpful are the tribes. Tribal response has been unbelievable as well. And they've helped us with housing, they've helped us with a place for our OES operation, and donations. It's just been unbelievable, incredible. Calpine's made contributions, and several of their employees have lost their homes as well, so it made them here. But Calpine is doing all kinds of stuff. I can't be involved enough, and I really appreciate that as a local large business partner. Tomorrow they're taking, if there are any kids here that are interested, you'll see me later, but tomorrow they're taking a busload of kids that have been displaced and their parents down to Santa Rosa, charter bus, to go to Santa Rosa to go ice skating, for pizza, just something as a distraction. So it's really nice of them to think of those kind of things. Yesterday, I met with a few of our staff. We met with Greg Bennett at Canocti Harbor Inn, and they've agreed to open some of their units. They're ready to go for some temporary housing for some people. So we're working through the details on that. That should happen relatively quick. So Canocti Harbor, they've been closed for all these years, and now they're opening up for you to have a place to stay and kind of get back to some normal life out of the tent, out of the pot. So thanks to them. I'm going to give you my phone number. Anybody that wants my phone number and wants to call me at any time is welcome to. While you're getting ready for that, I want to just say another observation. Like Ryan, we go to the shelters and we meet folks like you that have been displaced and are going through this, living this nightmare. And the thing that strikes me is how many people through this process have met neighbors that they didn't even know they had. And I just, that amazes me, how many friends and neighbors have come together on this that you didn't even know you had before that. So, if anything good comes out of it, maybe that's something that we all in Lake County are neighbors. My phone number is 349-2628. And you can call me anytime. If I don't have the answer to the question, which is likely, but I do know somebody that does know the answer, so I'll get that for you one way or the other, and anytime at all. Like Jim said, we're not just your supervisors, and you're not just our constituents. You're our friends and our family, and we love you guys. I have family members that were displaced by this, and I tell you, I think the world of all of you. Here for you, and I'm glad we got Middletown open, get Hidden Valley open, and start working away up here. And for Cobb, we'll get Cobb rebuilt. Cobb's been devastated, but like I've been telling people all day, in Cobb we trust. Thank you.
When I was a plumber, I forgot to give you my phone number. Don't the home phone, forget it. That one's not going to work for a long time. Cell number 490-5480. Hope I already know what you call me. Don't hesitate to call. I may or may not have an answer, but I don't all get it for you.
Thank you, sir. Next, I'd like to introduce Senator Mike McGuire.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for allowing us to be able to participate today. I'd like to start off just with a few thank yous as everyone's doing. I want to start out with the gentleman to my right, and that's Sheriff Brian Martin. He has been working since this fire started. He's had deputies whose families lost their homes, and they have not come off front lines. I think we need to say a big thank you to Sheriff Brian Martin. Also want to take a moment to say thank you to Lake County Fire, all throughout, in all districts, all volunteer firefighters. Also want to say thank you to Cal Fire for their incredible work. Absolutely give them a round of applause, my goodness. The Board of Supervisors have been working day and night. And for example, when I call Supervisor Brown, he is out directing traffic. And I just want to say thank you for all the incredible work. The California Office of Emergency Services have been here literally hours after the fire started. PG&E, of course, thank you, along with the California Highway Patrol, for all the incredible work. Who I have with me is Jody Travisero. She is with the Governor's Office of Emergency Services. She's our regional administrator. I think Jody is going to purchase a home here. She's here so often, and we are grateful for her amazing leadership. We have the Rock, the Department of Social Services, and now running emergency services as well from the County of Lake, Carol Hutchinson. And we also have Corinne Woodard here from NRCS, come on up, who is going to be giving us an update as well. Again, I just want to say thank you for your patience. This has been so difficult that I cannot even imagine. And one of the worst things in life is not knowing, and I'm just grateful for your patience. This has been an incredibly difficult time, and as we've talked about before, whether it's the Rock here, the Jerusalem, and now the battle. I gotta say though, like no other place, I think, in this state, Lake County has rallied. And we're going to get through this. We are getting through this. As the supervisors had said, we are going to rebuild. And our number one priority right now is to get people back into their home. But it has to be safe. And I know that has been a frustration. That said, we're making significant progress. We have over 4,000 firefighters from across the state here in our county right now. Countless stories of communities throughout California who would brown out their fire station, close their fire station if they could, and they did, to send engines into Lake County because this has been such a priority. It's the top priority for the state of California. Since the beginning, I've been in constant contact with the Office of Emergency Services. We've had the director of the Office of Emergency Services since this fire started in Lake County 3 times. He is the one that makes all recommendations directly to Governor Brown. We've also had the director of CAL FIRE in the county 3 times. This is a top priority. And we are continuing to flood the county with resources. I'd like to be able to go through that. From the very first night, we mobilized. The Office of Emergency Services has been working with the county of Lake to take the lead on repopulation. And they are moving resources into this county at a record clip. We had a great victory last night. The wastewater treatment plant in Middletown was hit by fire. And to be able to repopulate, we had to make sure the wastewater treatment plant was running. And we had engineers from across the state come into Lake County. And I just want to say thank you to all involved from the County of Lake, the Office of Emergency Services, who responded to be able to get the wastewater treatment plant up and running. And that is one of the major reasons why you're able to see repopulation today in Middletown. And of course, also the hard work of PG&E. PG&E has been tremendous, and I just want to say thank you for your incredible work, and in particular under challenging circumstances. And there are 400 hotel rooms in the county of Lake. Only 400. And the Office of Emergency Services has put the call out that as individuals are coming back into the county, and if they lost their home in Middletown, we need to be able to move families out of the shelter and into a temporary shelter like a hotel room. And I want to say thank you to CAL FIRE, and I want to say thank you to PG&E. CAL FIRE firefighters are now exiting all hotel rooms. PG&E are now exiting all hotel rooms, and now we are opening up hotel rooms for those that have been displaced by the Valley Fire. And just, we've also established a new base camp where emergency responders will be staying. And we also have rooms open at Twin Pines Casino as well. And I just want to say thank you to the Office of Emergency Services and to CAL FIRE as well as PG&E. The local assistance center is now open at the Middletown Senior Center. It is your one-stop shop for all resources. Mental health, if you lost your driver's license, DMV is there. We have every insurance agency across the state located and embedded there. We have the Insurance Commissioner's Office. We have the Board of Equalization. I want to take a moment to say thank you to Fiona Monk for all of her work as well. We have Julie Lewis representing Ms. Ma here today. We have unemployment at the Middletown Senior Center. Fidelity Title is there. We have the Family Resource Center. We have Animal Care Control. If you lost any vital records, a birth certificate, for example, you can go to the Middletown Senior Center and have that reprinted right on site. It is there for you to be able to utilize. We encourage you to head over there. Caltrans has been working day and night. We have to get all state highways open. The 120 National Guard, they worked overnight to be able to get the new base camp established. And I just want to say thank you to the National Guard for here for the long run to ensure, obviously, our safety and to make sure that we have the resources we need to thrive. Debris removal is going to be starting. Jody's going to go directly into debris removal here shortly and how that's going to work. The state is going to be funding debris removal. And that's going to be kicking off, I'd say, within the next week here throughout the county. I also want to let you know we're starting to plan for winter.
Erosion control issues on those areas, and we'll be looking at how we can get those people assistance and get those things going. As people move back into the Cobb area and the Timberland, we will address issues up there as we can. I haven't been up there, so I don't know what that area is like, but we know that those will have things that we will need to address. We have resources for homeowners, information on reseeding, erosion control, tree mortality, things like that you can get from our office in Lakeport.
Thank you, folks. A couple things. I want to thank Jessica over there who's hiding very much. This is the second community meeting we've done together. She's opened the school and the football team, I believe, and several other people at last minute notice. This is a Saturday. Did the last one on a Sunday. So thank you very much. Next thing, she also wanted me to plug the Lower Lake football parents have done a lot of gathering of donations, and those items are down at the Rim Hall. If you are in need of anything, please visit that area. And lastly, personal comment. I've been here on Rocky to Jerusalem, paid attention to the Democrat parade and several other parties that you had, and of course, in here. You folks are phenomenal. Granted, I have only 19 years of experience in this trade, but I've been to a lot, seen a lot, and you guys actually, above all, thank you for your support and your understanding. All right, we're going to start with the question and answer period. So I have two individuals that are going to be coming down with microphones. We'll get started now. Please raise your hand and we will get to you.
Hi, my name is Tony. I'm from Denton Valley. And I've heard a lot of, first I want to thank everybody too. We spent a lot of time thanking. I want to thank everybody for what you do with this party. Fantastic, every single one. So my question will be here as soon as possible. We'll be repopulating. What is the projected repopulation for Hidden Valley Lake? Someone must know the projection.
If I could wave a magic wand and have you home right now, have you home instantly. But as we talked about, we need to make sure it's safe. What I will tell you is that we're shooting for tomorrow. I want to have everybody home tomorrow in Hidden Valley. Thank you for that. I'm not thanking you for the applause for me. I'm thanking you because there's people here that need to hear how important it is for you to get home. How that is the driving factor in your lives this time. I understand that, and there are people here that need to hear that so they can take that back to the people that are making the work happen, push them harder. You're what drives us. You are what drives us and keeps us going. Our projection is we're shooting for tomorrow. I'm not saying we're going to be home for tomorrow, but that is my goal, and that is the target and the goal of everybody that's involved is to get Hidden Valley, and I know that's the largest concentration of people that are being impacted in this place, so we're shooting for that.
So it brings up a point. On the back wall, we have various addresses, if you will, email address. fire.ca.gov, a form of information you can log on to get this information. Twitter, @CalFire_fire, as well as a Facebook account. A lot of different avenues, and we do send out press releases to the media. Next question.
Good afternoon. This one is for Sheriff Martin. My name is Matt Nelson. I'm with the Moose Lodge 2284. Thank you. Hi, Brian. I'm sorry we haven't officially met yet.
I spent some time out there, not as much as you, but I thought.
First of all, to you and your deputies, folks, come on, big round of applause. Thank you guys. Seriously. One thing I wanted to tell you is we are prepared to make it clear the lodge has an abundance of things. We've been acting as a distribution center to all the other shelters in Lake County, Mendocino County, and surrounding areas. Sheriff, my question to you is, I just gave the order to load 6 truckloads with the Moose Lodge logos on the doors so they're identified, to go down to Middletown and staff, or at least fill the fire department down there with donations that we have that we'd like to be able to provide for all these folks. If I can get your permission, maybe we can talk soon. My phone just died, so I need to still be able to communicate. But if it's okay with you to get the green light.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful.
We've been doing what we can. I know everybody wants to go home, and you'll hear stories about some people can get in. Okay, we're taking steps to make sure that people who are, I call them force multipliers. It's a military term. You take one person and make them impact the operations of many, many more. Those are the ones we're concentrating on. I can't grant permission for every single person to go back and look at their own home, but we have people that are doing things like you that are helping, potentially hundreds or thousands of other people either get through this or get home more quickly. Absolutely, I'm 100% behind it. So before I leave, we will talk, and I'll talk about how we're going to make that happen.
Okay, one more thing, just the organization I can handle is I can do, let's start with 6.
Let's talk offline. Yeah,
you got it. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
This is for the sheriff. I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for mentioning Hidden Valley. It's like we don't exist. And I know that we are a big entity on our own, kind of isolated from the rest of the community. But I have 4 friends that I lost in Middletown. 2 that lost their homes in Middletown. 2 that lost their homes in Anderson Springs. 1 in Cobb, and a few more in Hidden Valley. So my heart goes out to all of you who don't have your homes. Fortunately, I'm one of the lucky ones. I do. And my question to you is, because I'm not in a part of Hidden Valley that was affected by the fire, for which I thank God, are you going to be repopulating Hidden Valley in sections so that those of us who have our homes intact can go home and clean out our refrigerators and most important, go up our streets and come together and do what we can to help everybody? Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm going to answer your question. I want to touch on something else. We're going to get Hidden Valley back in there. We're not going to do it in sections. When it's open, we're going to open all of Hidden Valley. But there are going to be some sections in Hidden Valley that are closed off. And when you get there, you're going to see why. That's what brings me to my next point. In California, in many counties, the sheriff is also the coroner. And in Lake County, that's the case. I'm a coroner, not a doctor. Don't do anything like that. It's mostly a ministerial service. But we deal with, when you call the coroner, you get a deputy sheriff. I've been a deputy sheriff that's gone out there and dealt with grief and tragedy. And this is a very tragic situation that we're all faced with. I'm not an expert on the response to grief, but I've seen it enough times. I've experienced it personally. You're going to feel all kinds of emotions when you go out. You're going to feel denial. You're going to feel anger. You're going to feel, you're going to go through a bargaining period. And these are all normal things. I look out in the crowd and I see people wiping tears away. It's okay to cry. Don't feel that you're weak for crying. It's okay. I've done my share of crying during this thing. I I know there's some other very strong men up here that have done the same, and those are okay. The emotions that I hear coming through are part of that process, and I just want people out here to recognize, don't feel, you're going to expect these things, expect to feel these things. Even if you don't lose a home, you're going to feel the compassion for your neighbors, and so just be ready for those things. We feel it too as first responders, and we understand what you're going through. Back to your question, we're going to get you home. We want to make sure it's safe. There are going to be sections of Hidden Valley that people just can't get into because we haven't done everything we need to do. We're still conducting our searches, but it's not going to be part of Hidden Valley here. It's going to be all at once when we open it back up.
Thank you.
Hi, I'd just like to ask for some clarification on that because I'm a little confused. It sounded like you said you're not going to lift the evacuation by area of Hidden Valley, but then it sounded like you went back and said that you are.
There are at least 2 cul-de-sacs that I know of that we're going to have to keep closed off.
Okay, so just for example, we live on Green Ridge. It's off of Spruce Grove Road on the community of the Right Gate. And we've actually seen a video that one of our neighbors posted online where they actually drove with a video camera throughout the entire side of our community, and there's no damage at all.
Because we're talking about not damaged as opposed to being affected. They're still affected. There's still power issues. There's still water quality issues.
But I received, and maybe this is directed to PG&E, another question I need clarification on. I received a text message from PG&E yesterday saying that power services were completely restored to our area. But then it sounded like earlier they were saying temporary power was established, not official power. I'm confused. So I got a message saying that all power had been restored.
Yeah, I can answer that for you. So what we did, the normal fee for the Hidden Lake area comes from Middletown Substation north along 29. And we had substantial damage there. So what we did in Hidden Valley Lake was we brought in 40-foot trailer with generators and generated that system at the primary voltage.
And what that means is for mud and debris flow in creeks throughout the county. We are going to hear from the NRCS what they are preparing for individual farmers and ranchers. But I want to assure you the state of California is also working on mud flow conditions this winter, and that plan is being put into place. Finally, within hours of the fire breaking out, we established a fire victims fund, and I just want to say folks from across California have Lake County on their mind. They donated $830,000 to Fire Victims Relief Fund, which will start being dispersed to students who lost their home in Canocti, Middletown, as well as the Kelseyville districts will start receiving grants this coming week to be able to replace school supplies as well as clothing. And just want to say thank you to the amazing work of all the donors. I'm going to turn it over to Jody Travesero from the Governor's Office of Emergency Services, who's going to take a deep dive into the resources that are now available in Lake County. Let's get over to Jody.
Good afternoon, and again, I want to thank you for your patience. You all have such incredible stories about how you were able to evacuate and end up in the various shelters across the region. As we were walking around on the very first day to understand what any unmet needs existed out there, we had a common message, and that was, we just want to go home. We just want to go home. And what's the status of our house? So, in light of that, your county government was immediately responsive and saying we need to get people home. So we launched into high gear to make sure we had power, water, and wastewater in place, and that we made sure we put the fires out. And all in coordination in understanding how we can repopulate these areas in a safe and secure way. So again, I want to thank all the coordinating agencies. I mean, the integration and synchronization of all these agencies and their missions can be very difficult at times. But somehow we've been able to come together and make sure that you can have safe access to key areas of your homes. So as Middletown is being repopulated now, Twin Lakes opened at noon exactly when the repopulation began. So Twin Lakes Lodge is a PRC shelter, and they have over 200 beds. And our top priority is to make sure everybody has a roof over their head this evening. So as people are exiting maybe Calistoga or Ukiah or anywhere around the community, our #1 priority is to make sure people have a roof over their head. Twin Pines, is it Twin Pines? I apologize, that was the other repopulated area. I'm so sorry. Again, my apologies. So it's Twin Pines Lodge in Middletown, sorry about that. And again, so at the ARC shelter, we hope that everybody will check in. And of course, always have food, medications, and any mental health services. And again, we've opened the local assistance center, the Middletown Senior Center. We also have opened up points of distribution for various supplies that you might need when you repopulate. The stations are the Middletown Fire Station, Station 60, am I saying that right? Sure? Okay. Station 60 in Middletown. And we also have a points of distribution center at Calpine Visitor Center. So what we had is about 15,000 gloves and masks donated from Home Depot, in addition to water. And we have just various items that you might need to repopulate your homes. I'm going to ask you to please adhere to the messages from your law enforcement agencies about safety and your public health officer, Dr. Tate, who has also provided educational materials at those points of distributions at each of the checkpoints as you enter back into the areas. As we know, some homes are destroyed and some are damaged. And I know the top priority is to get going in recovery. So there have been immediate deployments of debris boxes, for instance. I'm going to read specifically a press release that just came out from the Lake County OES. It says here that 20 dumpsters will be strategically placed in the repopulated neighborhoods for the disposal of food items. Dumpsters will be attended by volunteers to ensure that only appropriate items are disposed in the dumpsters. Toxic substances and household waste, such as paint and home hazardous products, will not be accepted. So again, we need you to adhere to the public health messages and also the sheriff's suggestions on how to be safe. It's hot out there. We provided water, and again, if you have water, wastewater, and power, we're going to immediately repopulate you into the areas. Debris removal is a complicated process. It begins, of course, allowing you back in to make sure that you have access to, honestly, the precious items that you need to see and just assess the situation personally and privately. So once you see the damaged and destroyed homes, and say you need a shelter over your head, we're asking that you go back to the Twin Lakes Lodge and check. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I just haven't said. Good.
How you doing, everybody? This is Terry Larson.
And Pete Schiffman.
And we are going to give you our final broadcast for the night. The latest footage from the I'm on the Rocky Fire.
No,
oh God,
fire.
Which fire is it now?
Valley, like a Valley Girl.
Fire. I don't like that name. It's too boring.
It is.
I like the Rocky Fire. It had a good name to it. You know, they should have called this one like the Corn Cob Fire or something.
The corn on the cob fire.
Corn on the cob fire. Something a little more interesting.
Yeah. I don't care.
You know, something different than Valley. It just sounds so boring.
Valley Girl fire?
The Valley Girl would have been good, yeah. Okay, it's not funny, but we're so tired that we have to laugh because we're just both exhausted. You know, we've been going basically 24/7 here, helping people find their homes and make sure their homes are safe. And today was one of our last trips, I'm happy to say. I will not be going to Middletown anymore. I will not be going to Hidden Valley Lake because everybody's going to get to go home tomorrow. So I will be going back to Cobb. If anybody hasn't gotten to see or know whether their house is there, please let us know, and we'll be happy to go check it, and we'll shoot video of it if it has been destroyed. We're not really shooting video now of houses if they stand, because you know what your house looks like. And although we have made a couple mistakes, okay, I'm not going to say we're perfect. Today we went, yeah, can you believe it? Well, today we went to a house up in Loch Lomond. I told the poor lady it wasn't there, and she's like, no, you got the wrong house. I was so happy I had the wrong house, just too bad for her neighbor.
Yeah.
It's sad.
That is sad.
It is sad. So, oh my God, they had like 4 '64 Volkswagens.
Oh.
Gone.
Buses or bugs?
Bugs. Gone. So sad. Anyway, my condolences, our condolences go out to everyone who's lost a home or a family member or an animal or anything in this fire. We're just so sorry that this has happened, and we hope they get to the bottom of it and get it figured out what happened, because we need to make sure this doesn't happen again. Just too many strange fires happening in Lake County. All right, so we're going to go ahead and roll that beautiful bean footage, if you would. Mr. Technical Director, and I'll do the narrative on it so that everybody knows what we're looking at. Can you move that microphone up?
I'd be happy to.
You got to take that thing off of... Oh, okay. We're playing it straight off the camera. Okay, let our Technical Director get it straight. But just to set you up, we went down into Bottle Rock Road, down Hartman Road today, and then took Hartman Road up Bottle Rock, up past Calpine, and back into Cobb. The fire has reached certain areas of Bottle Rock Road, but as far as I can tell, it hasn't really gone across the road too much. Pine Grove is still okay, and the Lions Club building is still there. All the buildings back behind that area still seem to be all right, and I didn't see any real massive homes destroyed. It looked like they managed to salvage most of the houses on the side of the road where the fire did go through.
Ready when you are.
All right, we're ready. So we started off going down that road, and in the morning, this is about 9 o'clock this morning. In the morning, there is, you see the fire is all around the houses, but they managed to really protect those houses, and Bottle Rock is looking pretty good.
Nice thumb.
Nice thumb. Okie dokie. And then just again, we're just going down Bottle Rock Road. We went up to Calpine to try to get back into the back because it seems like the fire is actually behind all that, that hillside along Bottle Rock and going up into the mountain there. But it's significantly reduced. The smoke was there, but it was nothing like it was yesterday. I mean, we had plumes and plumes and plumes and plumes of smoke going up yesterday, and they still are actively fighting this. There's still water drops being done. There's still, retardant being dropped. And again, this is unedited, folks, so I do apologize, for the blank shots of the side of the hills, But you can see now we're coming more into the smoky region, and that was the Calpine entrance, I believe. And there just is no real flames anywhere that I could see, which was a really good sign. It seems the weather really has helped. And of course, tomorrow and the next day we're getting higher temperatures, so they're saying that it might have an effect. But with a 50% containment, I think our odds are pretty good that they're going to be able to keep this thing under control. Unless we get major wind shift and major winds, I think we might be out of the woods in the next couple of days.
That was no pun, I hope.
No pun intended. But as you can see, there's some burned fields, but there's pretty much houses are still good on Bottle Rock.
God, it's gorgeous.
Isn't it lovely out there? And I hate to say it, but the smoke with the sunlight actually makes it look really pretty. The smoke was pretty heavy, though. It was hard to breathe. I had to wear a mask pretty much all the way in, up to the top of Cobb. I heard that. Now, I know that all those of you having houses on Bottle Rock are going to feel good when you see this because it really is very safe right now. Now, that doesn't mean that the winds can't shift and shift it back over in this direction, but we're all going to pray that that doesn't happen, and because we're all going to pray that that doesn't happen, it won't happen. We know that. Knock on wood. And our GoPro cam will also have footage, like panoramic view on both sides of the road as well, just to prove to you guys that it is good on both sides of the road at this point. I did not see one burned out house on Bottle Rock Road at this point. You know, our firefighters are just spectacular, I'll tell you. My turn. So we're going to take a day off tomorrow. Pete's got his last baseball game of the season down in Santa Rosa.
Actually, Petaluma.
Oh, Petaluma, that's right. So we're going to go over the hill and we're going to...
and they're going to ask how we're going to do that.
They don't have to ask how they do it. We have media passes. We can go anywhere we want. So he will be going to play his final game before he gets his arm surgery.
I am pitching tomorrow.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm going to start.
You feel okay to do
Yeah,
that?
and then Gino will take over.
Good. So let's see where we're at now. Oh, I was trying to capture a helicopter. There's big water tender helicopters up there, and they're all dipping from a lake that's up behind the golf course. I'm not sure what lake that is. So that shot didn't come out very well.
Slow motion?
Elton was really good about driving slow. I had to tell him to speed up a few times because he went too slow.
You told me that a few times.
Yes, I did.
That looks like slow motion. Well, considering the
Now,
person who's
I'm
taking the video.
Not really sure where this is here because I didn't shoot the cross streets like I usually do. And to be honest with you, everything up in Cobb right now with my mental state is becoming a blur. But I want to say it was going up towards... We're all yawning. Come on, you guys, stop that.
He started it.
True. You know, I forgot to call our former insurance agent to see how she made out.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, she probably doesn't know. You should call her and ask her if she doesn't know.
I'll
Oh,
email
but
her.
Farmers is everywhere, you know. But they haven't been up in the fire area too
No,
much. No,
she lives up there.
I know she
Oh.
does, but I'm saying they're everywhere. Their representatives are everywhere.
okay,
I've seen
good.
20 cars with Farmers stickers on them.
Okay.
Okay, I want to say this is up in Ponderosa. I think that was the next address that we checked. And I believe we're turning around.
Interesting that when Mr. Brown was speaking at the town hall meeting, he said that Mr. Comstock, he said he heard 7, 8 propane tanks explode. Yet we see these and haven't even
I
touched.
know, it's crazy how some of them, I haven't seen one actually explode. You know what I have seen though? What Elton was telling me is that they are made to, there's a cap that goes on top and when they get hot, that cap blows. So it could be that's what he heard.
Oh, the cap's meant to blow off. So
Yes,
the tank doesn't?
yes. They are fixing everything up there, guys. I mean, those guys are working their little tails off. Everywhere we go. Anytime you see a tree that has an X on it, that means it has to go. They're going to be cutting that down. Okay, so I need to look at my list here to see exactly where we are. Stop it. Yeah, I want to say this is going up to Ponderosa, I think. As you can see, houses are still there. And we went down Mountain View, rescued some chickens, got them some water. They were really dying of thirst. We went back up to Cobb Street and took care of the kitties up there. And I want to thank the Middletown Veterinary Hospital for loading us up with cat food, dog food, water, and everything we need for animals up in that region. If we come across any animal. Oh, there's the chickens. Yeah, this is Mountain View. Yeah. Poor babies. They were so thirsty. So we had to stop. I wish I would have videotaped it, but they were so grateful. They just went right to that water. They were so thirsty. And there's big helicopters behind the trees there. You can't see them. There you could just see a yellow flash. And there they are. Yeah, that's when he got the water for them. I think we got them coming to the water. It was so cute. Oh, he's setting it up here now. That's Elton, one of our photographers. Very good-hearted person. Yeah.
Really? Really?
Oh, I'm really upset with him. He did that out a window in somebody's neighborhood. Look at the way they went. Oh, my gosh.
Give me room.
Isn't that
Give me room.
sweet? Oh. So sorry we left a little trash in your yard, but I'm sure you appreciate it because your chickens did. But yeah, we got a problem. Oh yeah, this is someone's home that we came across. I'm not going to say the location of these homes that we've lost. But those people that asked us to check addresses. You know, this is the house that I said that the lady lost her house, and she says that's not her house. She said her house is still there. And I tried to get the shot of the address, but what she's saying is that that's actually Casal Street, I can say, because it wasn't her house. So I'm not sure. I'm thinking that this house here could have been hers, which we're going to shoot that in a minute. But the way the numbering was up there, it was pointing in it with an arrow right to that house. So it was kind of hard to say that that was their home, or it wasn't their home. She let me know somebody actually sent a picture of it. Some of the strangest things survived. Let her know that the video's up so she can check it out. But Casal's had a lot of damage, unfortunately.
That car looked familiar.
Yeah, didn't it? But that's where the Volkswagens were up on this road. Yes, this was a bad one. There's still a lot of houses in Loch Lomond that were lost. You see the way the cap is on that propane tank? Mm-hmm. That's what blows. And there they go. They're up there continuously. And this is the new Highway 175 minus all the trees. They'll be cutting down all the trees that line the highway due to the fact that with them being burned, they're no longer safe. They could also fall down very easily onto the road or your car or yourself. I really tried to get that shot. It was a bunch of trees that had been cut down on the roadside just before you get to Anderson Springs. But look at these guys working this heavy equipment.